Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Dandavat pranams. Hare Bol. How are
Dandavat
you?
pranam.
Hare Krishna. Hope everyone doing very well. It's raining currently here. A lot of services. Okay. Audience says stop now. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavat pranams. So good to see you as well. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol. Let's resume back to our Goloka chart discussion. Before we start, let's begin with Mangla Chana. Ajnana timirandasya Jnana jana shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yudhapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathavitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhavitam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kancha Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Shri Pad Ki Jai Jai Shri Radhe Hare Krishna. Inwards. There you go. Thank you so much for everyone for your presence. सभी भक्तों का स्वागत है. Hare Krishna. Let's start where we left last time. So हमने जहाँ पे छोड़ा था हम वहीं से शुरू करते हैं. Goloka chart. So in Goloka chart on the top we have the spiritual world, at the bottom we have material world, then in between we have the transcend from spiritual to material. Goloka chart में आध्यात्मिक जगत ऊपर की तरफ एंड भौतिक जगत नीचे की तरफ और उसके बीच में मध्यांतर जहां से अध्यात्म से भौतिक की शुरुआत होती है. So we have already covered Golok Vrindavan and now we are on Vaikuntha Dham. We have started Vaikuntha Dham. तो गोलोका धाम को हम देख चुके हैं, हमने उसके बारे में बात करी है, चर्चा करी है. अब हम वैकुंठ के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं. In Vaikuntha, last what we covered was 5 different types of liberations. Salokya, Samipya, Sarupya, Sarashti, Sahajya. So these 5 are the ones where a lot of non-devotees, if you think about those Ashtanga yogis, a lot of Gyanis, sometimes even Karma yogis, they aim to get that. So बहुत से ऐसे जिन्हें हम भक्त नहीं कह पाएंगे क्योंकि जो भक्त होता है वो भगवान के पास जाना चाहता है, लेकिन काफी ज्ञानी, काफी अष्टांग योगी, काफी कर्म योगी भी ऐसे हैं जिनका जो स्पिरिचुअल, जो आध्यात्म के ऊपर जो प्रगति वो करना चाहते हैं, उनका लक्ष्य यही होता है कि इन पांचों में से कोई भी एक मुक्ति मिल जाए। तो जैसे हमने बात करी कि 4 पुरुषार्थ होते हैं, उसमें से मोक्ष को सबसे बड़ा माना जाता है। There are 4 purusharth, and usually liberation is considered as the topmost, but not for devotees. Devotees, they don't even want liberation. So जो भक्त होते हैं उनको मुक्ति नहीं चाहिए, उनको सेवा चाहिए। फिर भगवान की सेवा, भगवान के भक्तों की सेवा, आध्यात्मिक जगत में या फिर भौतिक जगत में भी। So the devotees of the Lord, they don't look for the liberation. That's not what they aim for. Devotees, they aim for the service. And the service in a sense, that service to the Lord, service directly to the devotees of the Lord, because we might know, we are not fortunate enough that Krishna was there in Vrindavan with the spiritual body, and there were many devotees there along with Krishna. We don't have accessibility to Krishna directly, but we do have the representative of Krishna, Guru Maharaj, many other senior Vaishnavas, Acharyas, other devotees around us. तो हम भक्तों के लिए भगवान कृष्ण हमारे साथ में उस तरीके से नहीं है जैसे वृंदावन में भगवान ने अपनी लीला करी थी और सभी भक्तों के साथ में थे कृष्ण, लेकिन कृष्णा अपने प्रतिनिधि के रूप में हमारे साथ में है, जैसे कि गुरु महाराज हैं, जो सीनियर वैष्णव्स हैं, जो और भक्त लोग हैं। So the way Krishna says that I live in the heart of my devotees, मैं अपने भक्तों के दिलों में रहता हूँ। So मन में, दिन में, भक्तों के सोच में, भक्तों के विचार में, that's where Krishna is. So this is what Krishna is saying, that I live with devotees consciousness, devotees pure devotional service. So whenever somebody does something, then it should be very clear in mind there was the purpose behind it. Even in material world, we always think about what's there in it for me. If somebody will ask us to do anything in material world, the very first thing say, being selfish, we always ask what's there in it. And being selfish is not bad, but we need to understand where is our self. So what is for our interest. तो अगर हम ये सोचें कि भौतिक संसार में भी हम बहुत मतलबी होते हैं, और मतलबी होने में कोई गलत बात नहीं है, लेकिन हमें ये पता होना चाहिए कि हमारा सही मतलब कहाँ है, किस चीज में है। तो in material world we always think of a lot of things where we can get benefit, whether it's financial or some other ways. But in a spiritual world, if we think about the benefits, we always think whichever devotional service we're doing, what are we going to get out of it, and why are we doing it? So भक्त कोई भी सेवा कर क्यों रहा है, ये अगर हम ध्यान रखें, क्या कोई भक्त सेवा इसलिए कर रहा है कि मेरा नाम हो, क्या कोई इसलिए कर रहा है सबको ये पता लग जाए कि मेरे अंदर बहुत नॉलेज है। So if somebody is doing a devotional service to get the name, fame, or a lot of time networking these days, so if there is any hidden agenda, then that's not considered as the devotional service. Krishna will not accept it. This is what Guru Maharaj says. So Krishna, because Krishna knows it, Krishna in the form of Paramatma is there in the heart of everyone. तो कृष्णा परमात्मा के रूप में सभी के अंदर हैं, सभी के साथ में हैं। तो हमारा कोई भी ऐसा छुपा हुआ हिडन एजेंडा, हम जिसे कहते हैं कि कोई ऐसा मतलब हो जिससे हमें कुछ और मिल जाए, लेकिन हम भक्ति की आड़ में वो करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, जैसे काफी लोग करते हैं, हम न्यूज में सुनते हैं। तो भक्त अगर भक्ति करता है तो उसके लिए सिर्फ वो सेवा इसलिए होती है ताकि भगवान प्रसन्न हो पाए। So again, the analogy of parents and kids, if the parents do something for the kids, it's just out of sheer love. And again, if the parents are grown up and the child is grown up now, if the adult child will do something for the old parents, then that's sheer out of the responsibility, not expecting anything in return. अगर पेरेंट्स बच्चों के लिए कुछ करें तो वात्सल्य प्रेम में होता है, और अगर बच्चे बड़े हो जाते हैं और वो अपने माँ बाप के लिए कुछ करते हैं तो वे वो सेवा भाव उनके अंदर होता है. बिल्कुल इसी तरीके से भक्ति भाव है जिसके अंदर हम कुछ चाहते नहीं है. इस वजह से ये जो 5 लिबरेशंस हैं, मुक्ति है, ये भक्त नहीं चाहते. So these are those 5 which devotees never aim for. Now, when I say we don't aim for, devotees don't aim for, they might get it, but we don't aim for. तो भक्त लोग इन 5 की इच्छा नहीं करते, लेकिन ऐसा हो सकता है कि उनको मिल जाए. ऐसा काफी बार हुआ है कि devotees don't ask. Dhruv Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, they didn't ask for a lot of opulence. Yudhishthir Maharaj, they didn't ask for a lot of things, but they still got it. So Krishna might give anything. Well, we need to understand whatever we get from Krishna, and we get everything from Krishna, how we utilize that in the service of Krishna and the devotees of Krishna. So हमारे लिए ये समझना बहुत जरूरी है कि हमें जो भी मिलता है कृष्णा से मिलता है, और जो भी हमको मिलता है, कम मिले, ज्यादा मिले, भौतिक मिले, आध्यात्मिक मिले, वो हम कृष्ण की सेवा में, कृष्ण भक्तों की सेवा में किस तरीके से लगा पाए. अगर ये चीज हम अपने दिमाग में क्लियर रखें, दिस वन पर्टिकुलर थिंग, इफ इट्स क्लियर इन अवर माइंड, देन वी विल नॉट गो बैक. हम अपने रास्ते से भटकेंगे नहीं अगर हम सिर्फ एक ये चीज ध्यान रखें. So this is what we understand from Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha, as it says, abode of Narayan. So Vishnu, we will understand Vishnu is a tattva. Vishnu tattva, there are many different Vishnu tattvas. We have already seen, and we will see it again, 3 different Vishnus. Mahavishnu, Karno Dakshaya Vishnu, we call it as well. Garbho Dakshaya Vishnu and Shiro Dakshaya Vishnu. They all are Vishnu tattva. Similarly, Narayan is Vishnu tattva. And so in Vaikuntha, Vishnu is called Narayan. But again, that Narayan also goes out, and sometimes that Narayan also takes the form of Garbho Dakshaya Vishnu. So there's a mention of that also. तो हम समझ सकते हैं कि जो भी विष्णु अलग अलग प्रकार के हम देखते हैं, वो विष्णु तत्व है जो कि उससे विस्तार होता है, भगवान से ही विस्तार होता है विष्णु तत्व का. और वो विष्णु तत्व अलग अलग जगह अलग अलग पर्पस से अलग अलग नेम, फॉर्म, शेप लेते हैं भगवान की सेवा के लिए, भगवान की लीलाओं के. Okay, one thing to understand, and this is sometimes very confusing, that a lot of devotees, because we always say Vaikuntha, Vaikuntha again coming from India, Bharatvarsh, we might have heard of Vaikuntha, but it might be new that there are numerous Vaikunths, there are unlimited Vaikuntha. It's not one, there are many. तो जिस तरीके से भारतवर्ष के अंदर कई बार हम सुनते हैं कि हो सकता है वहां पे स्वर्ग के बारे में सुना जाता है, सत्य लोक जो ब्रह्मा जी का है उनके बारे में सुना जाता है, ऐसे ही वैकुंठ जहाँ पे विष्णु भगवान रहते हैं, नारायण रहते हैं, इसके बारे में सुना जाता है. लेकिन ये कंसेप्ट कई बार भक्तों को नया लगता है कि वैकुंठ एक नहीं है, बहुत है. So there are many Vaikunt in a spiritual world. And this is why it says that each planet has unlimited cities and opulent places. So now each of them, it's like if we think of Jupiter or Saturn, then Jupiter or Saturn itself is a planet, but that planet has many different moons around, natural satellites, many satellites around. And this is something similar to Vaikuntha, that Vaikuntha is not just one place, but within Vaikuntha, there are many other places as well. And so some Vaikunthas are very small, some Vaikunthas are very big, based on what's the purpose of those are. Now, we don't really need to go into a lot of detail, but the details here provided there, they might be considered as a lot of detail. So we will try to go a bit quick, but we will always discuss as and when required. तो बहुत सारे विस्तार रूप से हमारे शास्त्रों में वैकुंठ के बारे में बताया गया है। तो कुछ चीजें हैं जो हम वैकुंठ की देखेंगे, जैसे हमने गोलोक धाम में देखा। लेकिन कंसीडरिंग वी आर इन मटेरियल वर्ल्ड एंड वी नीड टू गो बैक टू गोलोक धाम, or that's what we aspire to. Vaikunt is one of those places which we will hope will come in the middle, and we will skip and we will go to Goloka Dhama. Because remember, Vaikunt is the official place, it's the office place for Krishna. And Krishna might not able to reciprocate with us the way he will do in Goloka Dham. तो गोलोका धाम में भगवान हमारे साथ जिस तरीके से बात कर सकते हैं, वैकुंठ में वैसे नहीं कर सकते, इसलिए भक्त लोग वैकुंठ नहीं जाना चाहते, वो गोलोका धाम जाना चाहते हैं सेवा के लिए. So there are many Vaikunths, but the main Vaikunt is where Lord Narayan is. Now, what it says here, this is what we have seen before. हम ये पहले देख चुके हैं. भगवान कृष्ण, फिर उनसे बलराम जी का विस्तार होता है, फिर उसके बाद first Chaturvyu, then from Sankarshan we get Narayan. This is the Narayan we are talking about in Vaikunt. Then second Chaturvyu, and then from Sankarshan again, rest of the Vishnu Tattva, 3 Vishnus, they come along. So this is the Narayan we are referring to. Now if we come back, there are a few things we could discuss. This is one of those things I have mentioned before. तो ये हम देख चुके हैं. हमने जय विजय की बात सुनी होती है, क्योंकि जय विजय होते हैं जो हिरण्यकशिपु बने हैं, उसके बाद वो रावण कुंभकर्ण बने हैं, उसके बाद वो दत्तवंत बने हैं और शिशुपाल बने हैं, और उसके बाद चैतन्य महाप्रभु जी की लीला में भी वो आते हैं जहाँ पे वो जगाए मदाई बनते हैं. So there are different leelas of Jai and Vijay, and Jai and Vijay, they are the doorkeepers. We have heard of doorkeepers because Chatur Kumar, they come along. तो हमने देखा है कि चतुर कुमार की जो भागवत में स्टोरी आती है, लीला आती है, जब वो चतुर कुमार जाते हैं, ब्रह्म कुमार मिलने जाते हैं भगवान विष्णु से, तो वहां पर डोर पे रोक लेते हैं. तो वो वेस्ट का जो डोर है वहां से जाते हैं, वहां पे जय विजय मिलते हैं. अगर हम गोलोक का चार्ट देखेंगे तो वहां पे भी हम देख सकते हैं वेस्ट के डोर पे जय और विजय खड़े हैं. जो so that's where we are. And if we see on the left we have a Goloka chart, and on the right we have here Jai Vijay. And if we see here, we will go more detail, but Jai Vijay are there. Similarly, on each side there are 2 doorkeepers in 4 directions. But west is the one, Jai Vijay, we have heard a lot. So now what we say is that Vaikunt has 7 layers, and we will see each one of them. 7 layers in a sense that if Vishnu, Lord Narayan, is in the middle, and if we will expand out, तो हम कहते हैं वैकुंठ के अंदर 7 लेयर्स हैं. लेयर्स हम ऐसे समझ सकते हैं जैसे कि अगर किसी को विष्णु भगवान के पास पहुंचना है तो पहले कौन मिलेगा, फिर कौन मिलेगा, फिर कौन मिलेगा. तो विष्णु भगवान बिल्कुल बीच में है. अगर आप उनसे दूर जाते रहेंगे तो कौन कौन लोग और इनकारनेशंस उनके पास में है, उनको हम देखेंगे. ये बिल्कुल कमल के फूल की तरह हम देखते हैं, जो फूल बीच में है लेकिन पंखुड़ियां आसपास है. So that's the analogy being given here. Now the very first thing it says that there are 1,000. Of course it's Vaikunt. Vaikunt is famous for opulence. Vaikunt जो है ये famous है कि भगवान का कितना वहां पे ऐश्वर्य है, और ऐश्वर्य अगर किसी के पास में होता है तो वहां पे अनगिनत जो भक्त होते हैं, सेवक होते हैं. तो वही चीज वहां पे बताई है कि कितने भक्त हैं वहां पे. और एक यंत्र है जो हम वैदिक शास्त्रों में देखते हैं, जहाँ पे आर्य समाजी जो भक्त होते हैं वो एक यंत्र बनाते हैं, उसके अंदर हवन करते हैं. तो वो यंत्र भी यहीं से आता है, उसको भी हम देख सकते हैं. और जो नारायण है वो 4-handed है. Narayan is always, so the main difference between Narayan and Krishna, one of those which is very apparent, is Krishna is 2-handed form, Narayan is 4-handed. तो भगवान कृष्ण और भगवान विष्णु को अगर हम देखें तो भगवान कृष्ण 2 हाथ के हैं और भगवान विष्णु 4 हाथ के हैं। ये सीधे सीधे जो हम देख के पता कर सकते हैं। एंड so then his throne is made of Vedas. Now this is another thing. When we will see Mahavishnu, it says Mahavishnu is in the cloud and cloud is made up of Vedas. तो जो वेद हैं उन्होंने वो थ्रोन जिसके ऊपर बैठते हैं वो भगवान का वेदों से बना है. So what does that really mean? It's, of course we can think of physically, but it's the knowledge of the Vedas. It's the purification of the Vedas. That's what it reflects when we say that the Lord Vishnu is on top of it. And then covered with white ivory, which we will see the colors and all. And in the center, there are 8 petals and Gayatri Mantra. So Gayatri Mantra is very pure, and there are many restrictions that what we should do while taking Gayatri Mantra. But 8 gopis are there, expand into 8 queens, surrounded by Ananta, who is Balram, and then Garuna, who is the chariot of Lord Vishnu. So if we see here, then we can understand that if we see the alphabets in Sanskrit, they are given here. तो जो संस्कृत की वर्णमाला है वो यहाँ पर है. गायत्री मंत्र अगर हम देखें, गायत्री मंत्र भगवान के पास में है यहाँ से, इसलिए गायत्री मंत्र को बहुत प्योर, बहुत गायत्री मंत्र को पवित्र माना जाता है. So it's very pure and pious. Then Ananta Sheshnag, which is Balram ji. Then we have Purusharth, we said Dharma, Jnana, Vairagya, Aishwarya. So these 4 what people usually look for, these 4 come from there. Then Bhu and Leela. These are 2 main, and we will see when Ashta Sakhis we have seen it before, but Bhu is what we usually refer to the Bhu Devi, the planet Earth, and later we will see Rama Devi, which is also from Lakshmi ji. So Lakshmi ji, the female consort, is the source expansion of all the female Matajis. I say goddess they are, and the incarnation of Mahalakshmi they are, and so they all are there in the service. Garuna is there sitting. So all of them are there next to each one of them. Garuna himself, Garuna and his brother Aruna, they both are one of those magnificent birds. They come in the category of birds. So in Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna says, among this I am that, among this I am that, then he says, among birds I am Garuda. So Garuda is the supreme bird. So all of them are there in service of Lord Vishnu. So this is how we can understand here. And if we see later, then if we move further away from here, then that's how we're going to see a lot more incarnations of it. And just excuse me for a bit, please. Hare Krishna. So sorry. The devotee was just calling. So I wasn't sure if there's a need, urgent need. Hare Krishna. So sorry. So that's how we could understand that in Vaikuntha. तो अगर हम यहाँ पे देखें कि विष्णु भगवान बीच में है और संस्कृत की वर्णमाला है, गायत्री मंत्र है, धर्म अर्थ, धर्म ज्ञान वैराग्य ऐश्वर्य. हम जब कहते हैं कि हमें कुछ चाहिए तो अक्सर हम इन 4 चीजों में से ही कुछ पाना चाहते हैं. तो हम धर्म अर्थ ज्ञान मोक्ष, जब भी इन चीजों की बात करते हैं तो यही चीजें हम यूजुअली धर्म से जब हम चाहते हैं, भौतिक संसार में तो इन्हीं चीजों की बात होती है। भूदेवी जो प्लैनेट अर्थ के बारे में हम बात करते हैं कि वो माता का रूप लेकर आती हैं, तो वो यहाँ से उन्हें शक्ति मिलती है। लीला विशाखा जी, ये बहुत राधा जी के अगर हम देखते हैं तो उनकी जो दो सखियां हैं बहुत पास में, वो गोलोक धाम में हैं। जब वैकुंठ में आते हैं तो वो डिफरेंट फॉर्म, डिफरेंट नेम लेते हैं। So like Krishna has taken a different form of Narayan, Vishnu. Similarly, each of them, they take different form, different name, but the essence is same, the tattva is same. तो भगवान का same तत्व रहता है। अब अगर हम यहीं से we will expand out and we will see what other places like Satya, Shana. So we will see what they are. So 7 layers, as we said, so right in the middle. Hare Krishna Mataji. Yes, please.
Babuji, I always get confused when sometimes Vishnu is used and sometimes Narayan is used. So I found out from somewhere that Narayan represents the 3 Vishnu's forms that is lying on the bed of ocean.
Yes, that's right, Mataji. In one way, we can say that Narayan, if we see this chart, we can see so Vishnus, they come here right later. But Narayan comes before them. So that's why a lot of time we say Narayan is actually the source of these Vishnus.
Yes.
So that's the reason. If we don't really need to compare, but if we need to compare for some reason, then Narayan will be a bit higher than Vishnu.
Okay.
But in one form, there is not much difference between Narayan and Vishnu. It's one of those things that when, for example, maths. In maths, we have algebra, we have trigonometry, we have geometry, and somebody will say, which is better? And then it depends whether we are in primary, we are in secondary. And most of the time people will say, well, this is all completely mathematics.
Yes, understood.
So, but Narayan is one of them. And Vishnu Tattva. Narayan is also Vishnu Tattva. But yes, rest of the Vishnu Tattva, because they come from there. And that's the reason a lot of devotees, they say. And the Shastras, they also say similar thing. So we have seen, now we will see the 7 layers. So the first one we have seen consists of the second Chaturvyu and their eternal consorts together with their palaces. So we have seen the chart we just saw that the first Chaturvyu is there, then from Sankarshan we get Narayan, and then the second Chaturvyu is after Narayan. So everyone in that second Chaturvyu, they are there serving Lord Narayan. So they are there with Lord Narayan. So this is what we have seen. So Narayan is there. So after Narayan, we get the second Chaturvyu. So all of them, they are in service of Narayan. So if we go further, we see Anirudh is there. And then Vasudev is there, Sankarshan is there, Pradyumna is there. And in between, their consorts are there. So their wives are also there. So in 4 directions, we have 4 of them. This is the second Chaturvyu. And their wives are also there. So this is the description. And then if we go back, then we can see, then consists of 24 Vishnu expansions. As I said, there are, so 3 we usually discuss, like Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya, Shirodakshaya Vishnu. But there are many more Vishnu Tattva, Vishnu expansions. Some are very small in a sense that their pastimes are very small or not available to us in the Shastras. But some, they are very elaborate. So we will see. But these are the names given in the Shastras, and the references there according to Siddhartha Samhita. There are 24 forms of Lord Vishnu, and Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapter 2, verse 2 to 3, the mention of all these are there. And of course, the first 4, as we can see, Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Anirudh, and then after that, Keshava, Narayana, Madhava, Govinda, Vishnu, Madhusudana, Trivikrama. If we have seen the Vishnu Sahasranam, then these names are also there, along with many more. So they come from here. And right at the end, it says, they are distinguished by the weapons they hold. The weapons they hold. Now, you might remember we shared one slide, and let me see if I can quickly find that slide. It will be very clear. Maybe this one. Yes, 24 forms of Lord Vishnu. We have seen this before, where the main difference is what they hold. And that's where the unique combination comes in. So if you want to figure out that what's the difference, अगर हम ये जानना चाहें कि ये जो भगवान विष्णु के जो 24 डिफरेंट अवतार हैं, अंशास हैं, इनके अंदर क्या फर्क है, तो इन्होंने कितने क्या क्या पकड़ा हुआ है चारों हाथों में. चारों हाथ हैं, सबके विष्णु हैं तो 4 हाथ होंगे उनके, और हर हाथ में उन्होंने क्या क्या पकड़ा हुआ है, उससे ये पता लगता है कि वो कौन सा अवतार है. एंड हर अवतार का एक पर्पस है. तो जब भी ऐसा कहते हैं, जैसे राधा रानी जी के लिए कहते हैं कि राधा रानी जी इतने सालों से, हमेशा से निरंतर भगवान के लिए बनाती आ रही हैं किचन में कुछ, और हमेशा आगे बनाती रहेंगी, लेकिन राधा रानी जी कभी भी कोई रेसिपी दोबारा से रिपीट नहीं करती हैं. So this is the bhava, that every time I need to give something new. And if we think about this, that even here, whenever Lord takes a new incarnation, it's a unique incarnation. So a lot of time we say, oh, it's very similar. Yes, it's very similar, but Lord always gives, because Lord wants to give the whole idea of the pastimes is for us. If we don't have Bhagavatam, then it will be very hard for us to discuss, to think about Krishna. So it will be difficult for us to be in Krishna consciousness. Because we have Bhagavatam, because we have all those stories, all those leelas, all those pastimes, we can discuss. क्योंकि भगवान की लीलाएं हमारे पास है, भगवान की भागवतम हमारे पास है, तो हम भगवान के बारे में बात कर सकते हैं. इस तरीके से हम कृष्णा कॉन्शियस होने में हमको बहुत आसानी होती है. तो इस वजह से भगवान जब भी कोई नया इनकारनेशन, पास टाइम, लीला करते हैं, तो कोशिश ये होती है कि वो एक नए अवतार में, ताकि हमें कुछ नए बात करने को मिले. ये भक्तों के लिए है कि भक्त किस तरीके से, क्योंकि भगवान यही चाहते हैं कि हम किसी भी तरीके से वापस आ पाए भगवान के पास में. So this is what Krishna is looking forward from us. And then when we go back here, maybe a bit back, yes, right. So this is what we said, that each one of them, they are distinguished by the weapons they hold. Now the one we saw, it's not the weapons, but different things they have in their hands. So why so many forms, as we discussed? And then let's see the reference, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 9, Verse 11. So भगवान क्यों इतने different forms लेते हैं? So हमने बात करी कि श्रीमद् भागवतम के अंदर अगर हम देखें तो तीसरे स्कंद के 9वें अध्याय के 11वें श्लोक में भगवान क्या कहते हैं? भगवान नहीं कह रहे, ये तोम भक्ति, ये जो सूत गोस्वामी जी हैं वो बता रहे हैं, Oh my Lord, your devotees can see you through the ears by the process of bona fide hearing. कि जो भक्त होते हैं वो आपको देख सकते हैं कानों के थ्रू. कानों के थ्रू कोई कैसे देख सकता है? मतलब कि आपकी जब लीला को सुनते हैं तो उस वक्त ऐसा लगता है कि आपको देख रहे हैं. इसलिए हियरिंग इज द वेरी फर्स्ट थिंग इन द स्पिरिचुअल प्रोग्रेस, कि वी शुड हियर अबाउट कृष्ण. सो अगर हम और कुछ भी ना कर पाए, हमको भगवान के बारे में सुनना जरूर चाहिए. और सुनना एक ऐसी चीज है, अगर हम अनकॉन्शियस भी हैं तो भी हम सुन सकते हैं. कोई a lot of time people say, oh my father or my relative is in coma, and you say even if somebody is coma, still put the Bhagavatam there or Chaitanya Charitamrita or Mahamantra, the person might able to hear that. And a lot of time it happens. There was actually a research done when I was a student around 15-20 years back, that some students, so a university did that research, and the university did that some students will listen to the university lectures during sleep. So when the students will go to sleep, then after they have fallen asleep, then some of the, because it was the experiment, then the experimental people, what they will do, they will play the recorded lectures of the course what the students were taking. And those students, they performed better than other students. And then they realized that, yes, it does help. And of course, there were many more, like when somebody is sleeping. These days, it's even better. And they're still doing what they call it neuroanalysis, that when somebody is laying down, they put the wires there, and you could see the part of the brain which is related to learning. So if we are learning something new, something in our brain vibrates that, okay, we are learning something new because we are creating something new. So ऐसे काफी experiments हुए हैं जिसके अंदर अगर कोई सो रहा है और वो कुछ सुन रहा है, कोई चीज सीख रहा है, तो हमारे मस्तिष्क में, हमारे दिमाग में कुछ ऐसी तरंगे हैं। तो जो सुनना है वो सबसे बड़ी चीज है। आजकल काफी लोग वर्किंग फ्रॉम होम हैं, घर से काम कर रहे हैं, तो भी उनके लिए इजी है अगर उनका कोई काम ऐसा नहीं हो रहा है जिसके अंदर उनको डिस्टरबेंस हो। काफी लोग रेडियो लगा के रखते हैं, आजकल ओलंपिक्स चल रहा है, काफी ओलंपिक्स लगा के रखते हैं, लेकिन जो भक्त है वो हमेशा कृष्ण कथा लगा के रखते हैं। ऐसा नहीं है कि भक्त ओलंपिक्स की न्यूज नहीं देख सकते, बट एक प्रेफरेंशियल जो अट्रैक्शन होती है वो कृष्ण कथा की तरफ होती है, rather than any other mundane things. So this is why it says, and thus their hearts become cleansed. And you take your seat there. You take your seat there in the form of परमात्मा. तो परमात्मा जब हम सुनते हैं तो हमारा दिल, हमारा कॉन्शियसनेस क्लीन होता है, और फिर भगवान वहां पे आके विद्यमान होते हैं और परमात्मा के रूप में। You are so merciful to your devotees that you manifest yourself in the particular eternal form of transcendence in which they always think of you. So different devotees, they have different perception, different mood, different karma. So based on their baggage, their experience, they might be attracted towards you in different form or shape. And there's nothing wrong in it. As we have discussed in part, जैसे हमने पहले बात करी है कि कुछ डिवोटीज भगवान राम के लिए, कुछ विष्णु भगवान के लिए, कुछ हो सकता है ब्रह्मा जी के लिए, कुछ डायरेक्टली कृष्ण भगवान के लिए, जिनसे ज्यादा अट्रैक्टिव होते हैं तो उनको वहां पे भौतिक संसार में, ब्रह्मा जी को छोड़ के, ब्रह्मा जी अध्यात्म में ही है, अदर बाकी सबको, सॉरी भौतिक हैं ब्रह्मा जी, जो भी बाकी अध्यात्म के अंदर भगवान के इतने सारे रूप हैं और इतनी सारी जगह हैं, जैसे हमने कहा इतने सारे वैकुंठ हैं, तो वहां पे जो भी भक्त किसी एक फॉर्म से अगर अटैच है तो वहां पर ही उनको सर्विस मिलती है। तो इसमें कुछ गलत नहीं है। So if there were only one, then everybody was stuck, whether you like it or not. But because there are so many different forms, Krishna has made himself available for so many. And this is the way Krishna has given in Bhagavad Gita as well, when Krishna says to Arjun that if you cannot do bhakti, like nishkam, so karma, if you could not do nishkam karma yoga, like when you do the karma, just give everything to me, don't think of the fruits. If you can't do this, actually, at least do sakarma. If you can't do sakarma, at least don't do vikarma. So there are different grades based on where we are. तो हर भक्त, क्योंकि मध्यम अधिकारी, उत्तम अधिकारी, जो हम कहते हैं कनिष्ठ, नियोफाइट्स, जो बिल्कुल नए हैं, कुछ हमें मालूम नहीं है, अगर हम अलग अलग भक्त अलग अलग लेवल पे हैं तो भी भगवान ने बहुत सारी अलग अलग चीजें दे रही हैं कि हम कहीं पर भी हो, हम कोई ना कोई चीज हमको जरूर अट्रैक्ट करेगी। यही चीज डिवोशनल सर्विस में भी होती है। शिला प्रभुपाद जी ने मंगला आरती करी, कथा उसके बाद होती है, तुलसी आरती होती है, नरसिम्हा आरती होती है, प्रसादम होता है, कीर्तन होता है, और इसमें इतनी सारी चीजें हैं कि कहीं ना कहीं डिवोटी को इसमें से कोई एक चीज तो अट्रैक्ट करती ही है। और वो एक बार कोई आ जाता है तो फिर सबके अंदर जब कृष्णा का एक जो अस्तित्व है वो पता लगने लगता है, तो फिर वो सारी ही चीजें अट्रैक्ट करती हैं. But that's the beauty of devotional service, especially the way Srila Prabhupada ji manifested, that we could exhibit in all different ways, and at least one of those will be attracted to us. So it could be Mangla Aarti, it could be Tulsi Aarti, it could be Narsimha Kavach, Narsimha Aarti, Narsimha Parnam. And of course, the Prashadam is one of those things which is usually very appealing to everyone. Now Janmashtami is coming soon. We are planning a big feast for Janmashtami and a lot of different dramas. I remember I was in Middle East. There I asked Mataji once. Very nice, very kind Mataji. And she was always busy. And I asked once Mataji, you are always so busy in organizing so many events. Then when do you get the time for your own devotional service? When do you get for your own sadhana? तो एक बार मैंने माताजी से पूछा, मस्कट में माताजी थी, अभी माताजी ओमान में ही है, आई थिंक सलाला मूव हो गए हैं. माताजी से पूछा कि माताजी आप हमेशा कोई और एक फंक्शन, अभी जन्माष्टमी, राधा अष्टमी, कोई ना कोई, इतने सारे आचार्य हैं, उनका कोई तिथि आ रही है, उसके लिए कुछ ना कुछ अरेंज करते ही रहते हैं आप, कोई ना कोई गेट टुगेदर, तो आपको अपनी साधना के लिए कब वक्त मिलता है? So what she said, that when this is events, the functions, the organizations of all these, they are the main source of attracting new comers. So the existing ones, they understand everything, and whatever they will do, they can consciously put their mind. But the newcomers, for them, the events are the most attractive part. Events are the most attractive. कि मतलब माता जी ने कहा, ये जो हम फंक्शंस करते हैं, ये फंक्शंस ही हैं जो कि सबको, स्पेशली जो नए होते हैं, उनको सबसे ज्यादा अट्रैक्ट करते हैं. एक बार वो कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस में आ जाते हैं, तो फिर वो समझते हैं कि बाकी सारी चीजें भी कैसे जुड़ी हैं. And that's so true. One of my friend, I met him once at a Manor, Bhaktivedanta Manor temple, and I asked him, how come you are here? Because he's Jain. And he said, because my son got admission in a good school, so I'm here to say thank you to Lord. And so that's great. Then I said, so how often do you come? He said, we at least come once in a year at Janmashtami. So the Janmashtami function is one of those which a lot of time devotees, they prefer to go. Similarly, there are many more. तो जो भक्त ऐसे हैं जो कि सिर्फ साल में एक बार दो बार आते हैं, उनकी कोशिश ये होती है कि फंक्शन है तो जरूर जाएं. तो इस वजह से फंक्शंस जो हैं वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हैं. What we should understand that it's for our own purification when we do it. So now when we reading these different layers of Vaikuntha, we understand how much opulence there and how much Krishna has done for us already, coming in different forms and shapes. तो भगवान कृष्ण हमारे लिए विष्णु अवतार में देखें तो कितने डिफरेंट लीलाएं भगवान ने की हैं, और वो हम भक्तों के लिए की हैं ताकि हम भक्त उन लीलाओं का आस्वादन कर पाएं, हम सुन पाएं, उसको डिस्कस कर पाएं. ये भगवान बहुत मर्सीफुल है, इस वजह से भगवान ने हमारे लिए की है. अगर आप भक्त की नजर से इसको देखें, सोचें, तो भगवान के प्रति जो प्रेम है वो और बढ़ जाता है कि भगवान को जरूरत नहीं है इसकी, लेकिन फिर भी भगवान हमारे लिए करने को हमेशा तैयार है. So the next thing it says, Dash Avatar manifested in 10 incarnations. So Dash Avatar, they are also, remember what we said, that Vaikuntha is the official place. So all the leelas we have seen, they all manifest from Vaikuntha. So it says that that's the reason whenever we say incarnation, we say Vishnu, that incarnation happens through Vishnu. And obviously Vishnu comes from Krishna, but incarnation happens from Vishnu, because each and every incarnation is there for a purpose, and there's a duty, and the duty is done in the office, not at home. तो भगवान कृष्ण घर पर हैं, लेकिन भगवान कृष्ण ऑफिशियली वैकुंठ के अंदर विष्णु के रूप में है. तो सारे के सारे जो ऑफिशियल वर्क हैं वो भगवान वहां पे कर रहे हैं. इसलिए सारे के सारे अवतार आपको यहाँ पे मिलेंगे. जैसे हमें 24 अवतार विष्णु भगवान के हमने देखे, अभी 10 अवतार जो भगवान के हैं वो हम यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं. तो इस तरीके से अगर हम देखें तो ये जितने भी अगर हम देखते चलेंगे तो ये सारे के सारे अवतार हैं। यहाँ देखें एक पहला लेयर है जिसके बारे में हमने बात करी. This is the first layer of Vaikuntha. This is the second layer, what we're saying. So this is where the Dash avatars are. And they are there with the consorts. In some cases, they are also there for the children as well. Some of the avatars, they had the children. Like Lord Rama had children. So this is the second incarnation. Then we will go. So these are the 7 layers. And we will continue going for it. Then the 8 eternal associates of the Lord. Satya, Achyutananda, Durga, Vishwaksha, Ganesha, Shankhandi, Padmani. These, as I said, they are not the same as the one in the material world. So the names are very similar, but they are very different. But the source is there. And this is what we could understand. Hare Krishna. And I've just noticed Gary Prabhuji has just joined today for his darshan. So if you continue there, then this is going further where the level 3 is also there. So similarly, if you will continue, so these are the 8 associates of Krishna. Then the 4th one, the 5th one, 4 Vedas, and then the consorts, Savitri, Gayatri, Garuna, Dharma, Makha. So these are all the incarnations of the Lord and the consort of the Lord. So the male and female, they go along. And this is what they are. And then the 5th one, we have seen the 6th one, now the personal forms of weapons of Lord Krishna. Now we always say that Krishna is there with Shankha, Chakra, Gada, and then Padma. And again, there are other incarnation which has plow. So this is mainly for the Shakti Avesha avatar, or when Balramji comes along, they take these 4 as well, rather than Krishna taking it. But Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma, these are the main 4 ones what Krishna comes in. And they are mothers. And each of them, they have their personal form. And these personal forms are there right outside. So this is the one. So if you see. So all of them, they are there. And then, so this is the 6th layer. And then the 7th layer, the eternal protectors of the Lord, Indra. Not the same as the one in the heaven. It's a different one. Looks the same, but empowers the heavenly Indra. So again, the way usually it goes, that there is the spiritual form is there, and from there we get the Bhumandal source. So there is spiritual and material. From the spiritual, the material incarnation happens. So their names are there, but they're different. But the names are different. So it's much easier for us to understand where they're coming from. And later in Bhagavatam, we will see the mention of what we call Adi Devtas. There is a very good discussion that when the material world starts, when Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is there, Brahmaji is there, the material Devtas are not there, but still the mention is there that the Devtas are praying to Lord Krishna. Then the question is, then Devtas, they are not yet been born, but those are different. They are called Adi Devtas. Like Adi mean like what we call Adi Shiva. They have always been there, and they are the ones. So like out of all of them, Maruts, Agni, Yama, Niti, Varuna, Vayu, these are all demigods. We might have heard of some or all of them. One of them, Ishana, and this Ishana is what we refer as Lord Shiva. And it says they are protecting 9 directions of Vaikuntha. Later they appear again as Adi Devta. So these are the Adi Devta which will come in Bhagavatam. As I was saying that a lot of details are there. So we will see how much we remember, and that's the reason we keep repeating a lot of things. But then Ishana is a Sadashiv. This is where Lord Shiva comes in. It is Vishnu Tattva. So a lot of time the difference between Shiv, Vishnu, Brahma comes along. So we do need to understand that Brahma is a jiva anyways. Lord Shiva is very different and very unique. But at the end of the day, Lord Shiva is also Vishnu Tattva. All the Vishnu Tattvas, they are coming from Narayan. And Narayan coming from the Sankarshan of the first Adi Chaturvyuh. And that Sankarshan is coming from Balram, and Balram coming from Lord Krishna. And that's the hierarchy if you think about it. So Lord Shiva is there as the name of Ishana. If we see, it will come here. So if I go back, so here, this is the Goloka chart where so this is north, this is east. So northeast side we have, if we go and zoom in, we can see Ishana there. And that's where Lord Shiva is. Again, being in Vaikuntha is a Vishnu Tattva. So it is. So Ishan is Lord Shiva, who is a Vishnu Tattva. Now, who knows God and what the Shastras talk about it? Maybe this is the topic for the next session. Today, how about we hear from Gary Prabhuji? Govinda Bhai Prabhuji, you said it. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, then what pronouns?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hari Bol. So good to have you here, Prabhuji. I was thinking of you other day. I was thinking it's a good weather and we should go for a walk. How are you doing?
We should definitely. Yeah, we should. I'm just so busy. I'm sorry, Prabhu. I just came in the meeting sort of like incognito just to see what was going on. This is the first time I've joined one of your meetings, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Oh, we have lost Prabhuji, or have I lost Prabhuji, or have I lost everyone? Hare Krishna.
What's happening?
My internet is gone.
I can hear you. Can you still hear me?